What does it take to build a sustainable fashion brand? This week we're speaking to Zia Bett, the founder and CEO of Zia Africa, on sustainable business. This is She Means Business. I am your host, Claire Munde. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Welcome to She Means Business.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Now today we want to talk about the business of fashion. A lot of people see the glamour, but there's a lot that goes into being a fashion brand. Now first, I'd like us to start with something random.
Yeah.
So I was looking through your pages and I came to realize you have 3 brands.
Yes.
But before we go there, in one of those brands, you put a Bible verse.
Yes.
John 15:1.
Yeah.
Tell us what the reasoning behind that is, then we'll continue.
Oh wow, that's a good observation. So that's for Dalia, John 15:1. It's I am the vine, you're the branches, and the reason I felt drawn towards that verse is because for a long time I was running Zia Africa, but once we turned 10 years, I felt a need to do more, and we came up with Dalia as part of our sustainability journey. Dalia are offcuts from Zia Africa. So the clothes you see here, the beautiful clothes, are made from Zia Africa clothes that usually were waste, but then now they've been brought to new life. So basically, just as Jesus told us that He's the vine and we're the branches, the same way now Zia is growing into, branching out into more Zia Home, Dalia. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Now let's go to your background.
Yeah.
How did you end up becoming a fashion entrepreneur? What did you go to school to do, and then how did you decide, fashion is where it's at?
Yeah. So I've always loved women. I've always loved women empowerment and children. So I went to school for community development in the hopes to join an NGO and get a big check.
Yeah.
And obviously make a difference and impact the society. So that's what I studied. But while I was there, I just knew I loved fashion. From a young age, I loved fashion, and I saw a few gaps. And I started looking for unique clothing, and I couldn't find them in the market. So my sister had gone to university abroad, and I got a chance to go and visit her when I was in university. So when I went there, I was like, wow, these guys have so many shops. Here at that time, we only had shops in town, in Menti House. And I thought, why not try and bring a few clothes back home and see if they sell. So on the first night, we opened a Facebook page. This is 2013. And the morning after we woke up, we had 500 followers. And I was like, what? Oh my god, like people are interested. So we put the clothes that I had gotten on sale on the Facebook page, and they sold out. So when I came back home, that's now Nairobi, I used to sit at Nakumatt, what was the one in town called? UK?
No, not UK.
Lifestyle. So that time there was no borders, no anything. So I would sit on Saturdays and tell my followers, hey, if you've ordered something from us, come between 12 and 1 p.m. and I'll be sitting at the bathroom with your clothes you try on. And yeah, that was the beginning of Zia.
Okay, now 10 years later you have grown and evolved to home, to baby and all that. But let's talk about sustainable fashion, because you say that the Dalia is made from offcuts from that. How did you decide to get into sustainable fashion? And sometimes sustainable fashion or sustainability is like a buzzword, but are you really sustainable? Exactly. So what goes into manufacturing of Zia clothes?
Yeah. So how Dalia came about is we had celebrated 10 years, that was 2023, and I felt like we need to care more about the environment. We need to reduce our carbon footprint, see what impact we're making, and make a positive one in whatever field you're in. So I one day went to the workshop, and I don't know why, for some reason it just dawned on me how much waste we had. So I thought, okay, why not, instead of throwing this away, how can we make the best use of it? So Dalia was born, and apart from Dalia, we started making things like headbands, scrunchies, and we just put them in customers' packages, and they would love it. So just trying to extend the life of fabric, because fashion is the third most polluting industry after meat and oil. So for me, it just came to me, and it just was right, felt right.
Yeah. So now let's talk about building a fashion brand, because as I said, people usually just look at the glamour, but there's a lot that goes into it. So I'd like you to start off by telling us that journey before you got to that 10-year mark. What are some of the challenges that you faced building the fashion brand that you hadn't expected?
For one, so once I finished uni, I actually got a job. So that was the path I was going to take, and Zia was going to be a side hustle. But once I got into employment, I was like, this is not for me. So I quit that first time. And it was scary. I said I'm going to do it full time, and I got scared and went back into employment. Now, the second time I left, I planned a little bit better. I had some savings, and I said I'm going to open a store, a physical store, and that is my plan. I'm never going to go back to employment. So I opened my beautiful store, put all my savings in it. It was promising, and just a few months later, the pandemic happened. Yeah, so the pandemic hit, and we had to close, but it was the beginning of something great, because then I invested in a website, and at that time, because everyone was home, people were ordering more. I also started looking for local manufacturers, because by that time I was still importing. So I had a chance to reflect and be like, okay, which direction do I want to go? I strategized. I joined, what is it called, an incubator, and they really found the gaps in my business. Up until that point, I was not bookkeeping. It was just vibes. I just used to sell and eat, sell and eat. So I think that was the beginning of something great. And that's when Zia really took off. Also rebranded to Zia Africa. And yeah, I'm thankful for that challenge. And then another challenge is fundraising. I'm sure you've had, especially for women, I think women only get 2 to 3% of funding. So we've been fundraising for some time. We've been bootstrapped for the most part, but getting funding as a fashion entrepreneur or fashion designer has been difficult, because it's very high risk, I guess, and also proving that it's scalable. So most investors want to take an agribusiness, and I don't know, but fashion, they're like, yeah, so it's been a challenge. Yeah.
So when you talk about you've been bootstrapping and all that, but you're still looking for funding.
Yeah.
And you are just going on vibes initially. So what other gaps did this incubator identify? Because how was that working?
Yeah.
On the vibes, the bookkeeping. How did you know you're actually a business?
I didn't even know our business. I was registered, but I don't know what that was. Because it was not a business.
Yes. Yeah. And did you have like the fear, like, okay, I'm getting this money, but is it really making economic sense for me? Or at that time it was just like, we just go as we go.
We just go as we go. Yeah. You know, when this is the thing, especially if you've not been exposed, and I don't have a business background. Because you see money coming in, you just assume money is being made. So you just know, okay, I have money to buy more stock, okay, that's okay. Then I have money to pay the rent, okay, I'm okay. But when I did the incubator, first of all, we started by projections, learning a balance sheet. Those are things I had never seen. So that really made me understand, number one, what are my top products, what should I focus on. I also did a bit of marketing research during that time, found out what are Kenyans looking for, who are my target audience. And it really helped me, even as I was looking for local manufacturers, to know the kind of styles, what's important to Kenyans. And to Kenyans, actually, the most important thing is quality. So our customers, that's the feedback they give us the most. Oh, we love your quality, we love your quality. Because there's so many other fashion brands that don't give good quality. So I took that and I said that's going to be our thing. We're going to be known for good quality and sustainable fashion.
Okay, yeah. And I'd like you to expound a little bit about your customer avatar. So when you got that persona, who is that persona? Because there are a number of people who say like, okay, cost, quality, I'll go for cost. There are people who buy, I don't know, 10 times a year for 1,000 dollars. But then there's that person who's very discerning and they're like, this needs to be good quality. So who would you say your customer persona is?
Well, our customer persona is aged between 25 and 40. They care about the environment. They have a little extra money to spend on quality clothing. They like to go to brunch and dinner and travel a lot. They also want unique things. So I think once that was identified, we focused on her, and her is also me. She's me, I am her. And we've done a lot of feedback. Every year, every maybe say 6 months, we ask our customers for feedback, just based on the current things that, the themes that we're working on right now, say sustainability. Do you care about sustainability? What's the most important to you? Most important thing to you? How do you like your packaging? Just very basic things that really help us curate the experience for the customers. At the same time, I ensure that it's true to me. Yeah, because I started this business because I couldn't find unique clothing. So at the end of the day, as much as I'm serving the customers, I also have to make sure I'm building a business that is authentic to me and that I will continue to be passionate about and love.
Yeah, and I like the way you're talking about that, because there are people who look at business from a different angle.
Right.
They're like, okay, this is what I would wear, this is something that's important to me, but then the customer is different. It's not necessarily like you. So how do you, what do you say to that business person who's thinking like, because they say sometimes you're not building a business for you. So I like dresses, but maybe your customer likes trousers. So how do you go about that? You're passionate about it, but it's not just you. Because sometimes that gives you the wrong picture of who your client or your customer is. So how do you go about that balance?
You're right, actually, it's a balance. Because, like, I have some dresses that I may not particularly like anymore, but our customers love it. So what does that mean? I think it's just finding things that your customer likes, yes, but at the same time, I still believe in authenticity, because it will show if you don't like what you do. And I really believe that people should build businesses they're passionate about, because business is tough. So on those days that your business is super tough, what will keep you going? It's a passion. So for me, I just look for that balance. Even say the dress, there's a dress that we have that the customers still like. I try and revamp it into something that's maybe more modern and see if they like it. Maybe cut the sleeves, maybe introduce new colors. That way it's still exciting to me. At the same time, I'm still listening to their feedback.
I like that, because you need a reason to get up in the morning when it's difficult. And if you don't like it, then it becomes difficult. Now I'd like us to talk about more on the business side of it. Now, as I told you, there are a number of people who recommended you to come on to this show. And one of the questions they were asking me is like, okay, we see businesses, fashion businesses opening up everywhere, but how sustainable are they? So you have this store here, and you had the store that you started, COVID and closed and all that. But when you're thinking of starting a physical store, there are so many overheads that come with it. What is your thinking behind that? Because there are many brands that start 1 shop, 2 shops, 3 shops, 4 shops, and then a little while later they have to close down. So how do you go about the physical shop, and what is the role of the physical shop? Is it for walk-ins, or is it just to have, like, I have a location? What is your thinking behind that and the overheads?
Okay, so for me, let me say, selfishly, I love shopping. And I love the shopping experience. So when I was starting Zia, even if we were online initially, I knew at some point I'm going to open a retail store so that also a customer can interact with the brand and just get a feel of the vibe of the brand. Aside from that, on the business side, our customers were asking to try on before they buy, or they also want to feel the fabric. Remember, quality is something that they care about. So the customers who even come here, they don't buy anything, but they just want to feel the fabrics, and then they place an order online. So for us, it's just a physical store that you can get to interact with us, interact with the fabrics, learn about our story. And in terms of overheads, ideally, you should be making 10 times your rent. So I remember even when I was coming here, the lady who was walking me around was like, okay, so you need to do the numbers. She actually cared. She was like, you need to do the numbers and make sure that whatever you're making right now is 10 times more than the rent you're going to pay here. So that's just on the logical level. And I have a financial advisor, so before I opened, she went through our books and she said, okay, I think you're fit for a store.
And I'd like you to speak a little bit more about that financial literacy for women, especially in business. What one tip would you give for women in business about financial literacy, that thing that they may be ignoring that might cause their downfall in business?
Number one is bookkeeping. That's just the bare minimum. Just find out how much are you making. Every sale that you make sure you write it down or have a spreadsheet. Secondly, if you're not good at finances, look for someone who is and really keep them close, because operations and finances are what really hold back a business. And that's where the growth happens, really. Yeah. So you need to know, do you have targets? What are your targets? How can you grow to the next level? How can you increase your revenue? If you're looking to open other shops, you also need to do the math and see, okay, does this make sense, or you just want aesthetics? Because that's also a thing now with Instagram. So just getting down to the ugly part of it. Yeah. Because you need to know the real. You have to know the real.
True.
Yeah.
A lot of people are about aesthetics.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's a lot more that goes into it. Now, as I said, I was going through your pages and I saw some things that you wish you knew before starting out. And there's one thing you talked about, creativity is like 10%. And then tell us about that, because some people, whether it's fashion, whether it's makeup, whatever it is that you're like, I'm passionate about this, I'm creative, but then there's so much more that's going to enable you to be here 10 years down the line. So tell us about your own experience about creativity versus the other dynamics of running a business.
I think initially, especially when it was just me, now at least I've grown a team, it was selecting clothes, that's the fun part, and then I was also not counting what's coming in and going out. But once now you have employees, you have a physical store, you have rent to pay at the other workshop, I think that's what I think about more, is the operations of it, which is the 90%, because your employees will come and say, hey, I'm not feeling well, and maybe that's your lead tailor. What are you going to do? Now we have a project in Andy, which is the picture up there, I don't know if it's in frame, but we train tailors for employment. So that's something else that I'm really passionate about, is just creating employment and empowering women. So that part of it, let me just say, is the most important part. Even if the aesthetics are nice, we're about to launch a collection tomorrow or Friday, and that's fun, that's exciting, that's why I started fashion. But that's one day out of everything. I need to know how many pieces are we going to sell, what is the reception, are these pieces that our customers love, and if not, how can we make a better collection that is suitable for our customers. So there's a lot of thinking as well that goes into it. I hardly sleep. Just thinking, because there's so many ideas, so many things happening at the same time. Strategy, So creativity is actually 10%.
Okay. And then you talked about like the fashion show, and I saw you've done a fashion show some time back. What is the role of a fashion show for a fashion business? Is it just to show your collection, or is there some other strategic thing that comes with a fashion show?
I think it's both. I think it's both. It's a good way for you to showcase your work. Also to create awareness, because I'm sure there are people there who have never heard of Zia Africa. And then in terms of strategy, I think for fashion brands, especially in Kenya, we need to really have a fashion game. We hardly have fashion shows. I think there's only one major one, Tribal Chic, one of those. And I would love to do more. Let me say that. I would love to do more. That was last year. We're hoping to do one in December, a purely off-cuts collection. So that's something exciting. That's a 10% of creativity I get to do.
Yes.
But I do think it's important. Also just showing Kenyans how to dress, how to pair things, what we have to offer. There's a lot that goes into it.
Okay. Now there was something else that you talked about when it comes to pricing, because you said pricing is not just the cost and then a markup. There are so many things that came into that, and I found that very interesting that you said there are influencers that come into the cost. There are so many other things. So speak to us about that. So by the time I'm bringing this dress to you, or however much it is, I'm not just having a markup. The advertising, the what, talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I think initially when I started, I just used to price. I'm like, this one looks like it can go for 3,000, that one is 2,000, like that. Thank you, God, for bringing me here, because I don't know But anyway, so now that I have a physical store, I have employees, we work with influencers quite a bit, we have packaging, we have a rider who's on retainer, the fabric, the cost of fabric as well, so maybe something that is ribbed would cost different from something that's 100% cotton. So all those things have to factor in, as well as VAT, and more often than not we include some delivery fees in there. So those all have to be factored in, because at the end of the day all those bills have to be paid, and they should be paid by the clothes that you sell.
Yeah, I like that. You know, in an interview we did with Carol Kinuti, she was also talking about that. Sometimes some Kenyans appreciate, but not every Kenyan appreciates. So you see this dress for however much, like, why is it this much, and I can get a dress for this much, not cognizant of the fact there are so many things that come into it. So what would you say to that Kenyan who is interested in buy Kenya, build Kenya, but they're like, but it's on the higher side, or will you tell them you're just not my target audience?
Well, I just
that? And being like, this is my cost, this is my price, and I'm okay with it.
Well, let me say this. The value Buy Kenya, Build Kenya has is, number one, you know who made your clothes. Like, we have a team of tailors. It's not some factory in China that, you know, there's underage children or thousands of tailors who are not treated well. You know that there are artisans who need a family, who feed a family or need a livelihood. That's one. Number two, we take time. Like for us, we work on a pyramid model, which is part of our sustainability ethos. So, which means when you order from us, we'll make the dress once you order. That will take 10 days. That will mean maybe the first 5 days we're sourcing for fabric. If it's not there, we'll make sure we make a very beautiful dress, take our time making it. We'll do quality control. We'll ensure that this dress can last you as long as possible, so that you don't have to shop every weekend or every other month. We really try and make our clothes timeless, because we want it to last a long time. And they say actually we are spending 60% more than we should on consumerism, buying more than we should. So, and it's going to increase in the years to come. So for us, we're not saying buy quantity over quality, we're saying quality over quantity. And that's something I know many Kenyan brands are enforcing as well. So yeah, it's a form of creating employment. I think I said, why not, honestly, and support your own. Locally made, you know, actual hands made it.
Handmade. Okay. Content creation. A lot of people running businesses do a lot of content creation, and I've seen you doing a lot of content creation, but sometimes they say you get burnout. Monday to Monday you're creating content, and sometimes people ask themselves, is this part of building a brand? Does it convert, or is just someone having fun? They're doing all kinds of things. So what's the role of content creation when it comes to you and your business?
I love that question, because for a long time we didn't have to create content. Remember, I started in 2013. Social media was not really as big as it is now, but in this day and age you have to tell your story, and people want to see the face behind the brand. So my employees always say, you know, when you wear the clothes people buy, people want to see you wearing the clothes. So I think it's just a form of showing them that I believe in the brand as well. These are clothes that I would wear myself, and also just pushing our message and our story out there. And there's no better person to do it than me.
Okay. Now there's one other thing that I saw you posting, and you talked about sometimes friends are not the people who will buy your items. You know, when you start this brand, you're like, hey, friends, family, guys, support. And it's not necessarily them who support. So what has been your personal experience, and what lessons have you learned about who actually supports your business and who doesn't?
Whew, that's a touchy one. But I have a very small circle of friends, and I can say truly they've been supportive. Even when they come here, they always pass by the store, buy something. I think initially my friends were my first customers, but as they grow and as we grow, you find that strangers can be so pro you, even more than your friends. So it's not to shame my friends, but I also know that there are some friends who don't support their friends' businesses. For me, if a friend has something, an event or whatever they're doing, I'll make sure I promote it on my page, I attend if I can, and I think the same should go for anyone, any type of friendship. So it's just that I found during this journey, there's some strangers who just love Zia. They just do, and it's very beautiful to see. And yeah, it doesn't mean that because your friend doesn't buy from you, that your business is not successful or it won't succeed. That's also something, because maybe they're just not your customer, and that's okay. But friends support each other, so also friends support each other.
Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about motherhood. How do you balance running a business, which is very involving, and motherhood, and how have you been able to make sure that none of these are suffering?
Have I really? It's still a challenge, an ongoing challenge, but I think the key is integration. I don't know if balance is there, but I really try and be present. If I'm doing anything, if I'm at work, I'm at work. If I'm at home, I'll be present with my children, and also just allow yourself to be imperfect, because you're also human. Some days you're on and you're on. Some days are messy, and I give myself permission to rest, because that's also an important one, especially as a mother and a wife, and you always want to be go, go, go. But sometimes you're like, imagine I just want to take a nap, and I take that nap. Another thing is I have a very good support system, and I don't take that for granted. My team also is amazing. They really hold it down. So just having that peace of mind, and also just allowing them to be autonomous. So not always being no, just let them. And most times you'll even find they come up with even better ideas. They own the vision more when you allow them to do that. So I mean, it's a work in progress. I don't know if I'm there yet, but yeah, a few naps here and there help.
Now I want us to shift gears a little bit and get to know a little bit more about you. And I'll start from where you talked about your balancing your mom, your wife, and all that. And I know you don't share a lot of this on social media, so tell me what you're comfortable with telling me.
Okay.
What is your philosophy when it comes to your private life and what you let others see? Because we know you're married to a musician, but you don't show anything about that. But you put a song, every now and then. And for those who don't know, it's Nyashinski. What is your philosophy, and why do you feel like my private life is very private? Tell me what you're willing to share.
That's a good question, because I don't think there's any right way to go about it. It's just a preferential thing. I'm quite introverted, and so is he. And initially when I started growing my following, it was purely to push Zia. So that's what I do. That's actually what I do. And for my children, I've always said I would love them to be old enough to say, hey, I want to be on social media, or post me, then you can have that conversation. But until then, I think like my page is just for my brand, and sharing what I've learned along the way, and I don't think that has to involve my personal life.
I like that. So what are you currently listening to?
Ooh, I've been listening to a lot of gospel. If you're in business, you need to listen to gospel. Kaa karibu na Mungu. I've been listening to a lot of Swahili gospel, actually even this morning. I also like 90s R&B, early 2000s. Obviously I listen to my husband's music.
Favorite song
of his? It's Still Now, it's a really good song. No, but they're all really good. Let me just say that they're all really good, but my favorite has always been Now You Know.
Okay. And then what are you reading?
Currently I'm reading a book called I Am My Brand by Springer. I just started it this week, and it's quite good.
And what do you do for fun?
Ooh, I crochet. I am deep in my crochet era, and I like going on walks, listening to audiobooks, podcasts. I love hanging out with my friends, just laughing, like, whatever we're doing, whether we're at home, whether we're out. I just love girl time. Girl time is always so good.
Which podcasts are your favorite right now?
I like Diary of a CEO. Michelle Obama's recent podcast is quite good. Emma Gerd, I don't know how to say her name, is also quite good. Yeah, I like inspiring things. Yeah, if you're in business, you also need motivation.
Yes,
you really do. Yeah.
Okay, as we wrap up this conversation, I'd like you to look into that camera and speak to that lady who wants to get into business, whether it's fashion or some other kind of business. What is that one piece of advice that you would help her or tell her to enable her to stand the test of time, to be here for the years to come?
Wow. To stand the test of time. Hi, girl. I hope you're doing well. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself so much. Believe in your idea so much. It has no choice to materialize. Have grit. Greatness requires internal toughness. That's my biggest lesson, because through all business ups and downs, through everything that happens in your life, as you evolve, as you grow, you need to have grit. And don't forget to develop yourself. Focus on you, see how you can better yourself, and work on being the best version of yourself. Be the best.
Awesome, awesome. You've heard it from Zia Bett. Believe in yourself so much that there is no option but to succeed. This has been She Needs Business. I have been your host, Claire Munde. Until next time, have a good one.